welcome back. I am your host, Brianka J, and we're going to get right into this book talk. And of course, we're talking about Antigone. So stay with me. So just a quick review of what we know so far. Antigone is a girl out there in Thebes who basically wants the privilege of burying her brother. That's simply it. She wants to bury her brother. But the laws are the law. The new king has said it's a no-go. I don't like this guy. He is ordered to pretty much die and rot in the streets. So where we are now is Antigone and Creon are about to meet on stage for the very first time. As you can imagine, this is about to be incredibly tense and incredibly confrontational. These two people have very different beliefs, very different motivations, and are about to go head to head. So in this lesson, our objective as readers is to analyze how conflicting character motivations in Antigone help to develop the theme of justice. So, quickly, you have Antigone. Her whole idea of motivation is her love for her brother and her desire to bury Polynices. That's it. She believes that the love of her brother and the laws of God are more important than anything any man says, no matter if he's a king or a janitor. Simply does not matter. She is obliged to follow the law of Zeus, which is her god. Creon, on the other hand, believes you should punish Polynices for attacking his country. Also, he thinks because he has been chosen as the king, then naturally any laws that the gods have created back him because he is absolute power. So whatever he says, the law support in his mind. You don't have to agree with him. Antigone doesn't. It's up to you. So now what we have here are the two main characters, Antigone and Creon, and they are about to meet on stage. And let's think about how will things play out. Maybe I can show you this visual.
Yourself at all times, obey my commands at all times. I want you to fight hard and fight clean. If you want to touch gloves again, good luck to both of you.
Exactly. Pretty bad. These two have not been on stage for a couple reasons. One, we want to build up that conflict. We want to build up these issues so that when we do meet on scene, that's very suspenseful and it brings a lot of tension for the reader. The second thing we want to do is add in a lot of background information so the reader knows exactly why these two people have these very different attitudes and motivations and how they're coming at each other so aggressively. We need to understand the background there so when they have this aggressive confrontation, we can fully understand their vested interests in the opposite direction. Now, while we're looking at this, we are still considering the theme of justice. Justice here, what does that even mean? For me, the conflict between Antigone and Creon helped to convey the idea that sometimes justice can look a lot of different ways. Maybe the justice of our country does not always align with the justice that we feel is appropriate to ourselves. This is often the case with the vigilante justice that you may hear of, when a person takes it upon themselves to get vengeance or revenge on another person rather than utilizing the law and the police. They just take their own action. This is that type of situation. Do I trust the law of my land, or do I trust the law of God or the justice that I believe in, and which one will I honor? So that was our quick review. Let's dig into this new scene of it. So the play opens up with our guard, our very sarcastic guard, who's like, I don't really want to deal with this new king because he's a little bit high strung from the last time we met him. However, after being threatened by Creon that last time, he takes it upon himself to find out who has buried this body because he's not trying to have no smoke. So here he is. He finds out that's Antigone and he goes ahead and he's like whistleblowing like she did it. I'm telling Envoy no trouble. She's the one did it. So Creon is a little bit taken aback. This is his niece, yes, but he doesn't even acknowledge that fact there, and he almost looks away from it. He's like, hey, did you know the law? She says, yes, I was aware of the law, I was informed of the law, and I did it anyway. And he's like, okay. And they go back and forth, and you see them going back and forth. The conversation is very heated. Each of them take these little one-liners back and forth because they're arguing this idea, should I be loyal to my family or should I be loyal to the state? Now, both of them are making very strong claims. They just don't have the same opinion. And what's interesting there, when you see this conversation play out, is you as a reader have to ask yourself, which one is more important? Which one matters to you? That's kind of the ideas that come about. And that's what's incredible about literature, is that as a writer, you're a bad writer once you start giving people answers. What's great is he's allowing us to decide where our values are and where our societal values are. So that is the very interesting part of this particular scene. Let's look more into the details here. Okay, so some of the key details I want to point out here in this scene. For one, if you look in lines 508 between 518, she says pretty much Zeus did not announce those laws. So if you're familiar with Greek mythology at all, you know Zeus is pretty much the main guy. He's God, he's Allah, he's the most high, however you want to call it. He's the runner of things. So she says, hey, I know what you proclaimed as the law, Creon. However, Zeus didn't proclaim it, God didn't proclaim it, and pretty much anything you say is not more important what the gods want. You are not God. You are not in charge. I don't care what crown you put on. I ain't having it. That's how she lays it out, and she's very honest about that. So her themes and our reasoning and idea of this goes back to our theme about justice and what do we believe is just and whose law do we follow. Do we follow the law of man, or do we follow the law of God, or do we follow the law that we design for ourselves? These are our choices. Going down a little further in the work, you can see in lines 570-ish, she's talking with Creon and Antigone, and we get to the very meat of what they disagree on. She's pretty much saying, I did what I thought was right, regardless of what you feel or what you believe. He says, you're the only person in this whole kingdom that's tripping about this. And she's like, no, I'm the only one in this kingdom that's not afraid of you. So she makes this very poignant idea, and you almost see this in our fairy tales when you read things like the emperor has no clothes, right? One person has to go and speak for the collective, and what you find a lot of times that the collective is too afraid to speak because they're trying to save themselves or protect themselves from whatever type of negative action may come their way from telling their truth. So we're going to see that here with Antigone when she says, I'm gonna do what I want to do regardless of what you say, and I don't care about them because they scary anyway. So we go down a little bit further and we see that these two people are arguing even more, and we get to almost line 597 or so, and the question here, and I hate to have you waiting for me, it's like, an enemy can never be a friend, not even in death. And she says, but my nature is to love, I cannot hate. So he basically says, I don't care if this man has died or not. He was the enemy in life, he's the enemy in death. She says, I am here to love. This is my brother. I can never hate my brother. That's not what I am meant to do. Though you may hold that battle within your heart and you may feel that you have to hate this man for life, I don't carry your beliefs. So she's making this point to him to let him know that her nature, and she says, but my nature, right? She's letting it to be known. So then, the last thing we have to talk about is the idea, the last question, is Esmeen finally steps in to the sister. And first she kind of like, hey, I buried him too, I did it. And then Antigone's like, no, you didn't. I don't want you to lie. All these things, right? And that's fine. And then finally, she looks at her uncle, Creon, and says, you will have your daughter-in-law killed. And he says, I don't know why not. There are other women, right? There are other fields to plow. And we can picture that. If you don't know what that looks like, look at a clip of someone plowing a field. I'll insert it. And you can pretty much imagine what he's saying his son is going to be allowed to do to the women across the kingdom. So that's all for that particular scene today. I hope that you found this interesting. I hope that it was able to clear up some of your misconceptions about Antigone. From here, take your time to read it again, get more familiar with it, answer some TDQs, and maybe here next week when we talk more about Antigone and I guess she's about to find herself locked in a cave. So let's find out what happens when Antigone is now sentenced to her death and locked in this cave until she dies. That's coming up next time. Catch you there. Hey, before we start, do me a quick favor. Go ahead and press subscribe, and then I'm gonna start the video, okay? So just subscribe, okay? All right. I know you did. Thank you.